Excited to be here at Big Ten Media Day. It's always great to get started here. It's such a phenomenal league, and the conference race is always such an exciting thing, not only for the players and the coaches, but the universities, the fan base. It's just a phenomenal thing to be a part of. So to be here today as it gets kicked off, it's always good to be here, and excited to get back to our team later here in the week as we continue to keep preparing to build this group and approach the season with a lot of optimism.
Thank you, Coach. We will open the floor for questions on your left here.
Stefan Krajcik, Indianapolis Star. Coach, having been a player yourself and now coaching one of the biggest brands of college basketball, I mean, what's your thoughts on a new California bill?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different opinions out there from, obviously university leaders, administrators, long-tenured coaches to, the college student athletes themselves. And I think there's a lot that's going to go into it, and there's a lot of unanswered, questions. I think the big thing is that in today's day and age, if you're not evolving, if you're not forward-thinking, you're standing in cement, so to speak. The days of what was once always the way to do things and good in 2020 maybe isn't the way to do it. And I think that, there's a lot of bright people in a lot of rooms that are going to get together and make the best decisions possible, hopefully. And number one is to take care of the student athletes the best way possible, protect the game, protect the universities, and to continue on with an unbelievable product. I mean, I think that's step one. And, if you can make a young kid, a student athlete's life, a lot better, if they have the ability to take advantage of it, then we should be able to do that at some point. But there also has to be consideration for, the overall good of the game, the overall good of collegiate sports and the universities in general. So there's a lot that goes into it. Me in particular, I was a student athlete. I know what it's like to play. I know what it's like to, play on TV and get all the perks that go along with, having your face out there and all that stuff. And I think in my time, I never probably realized, who actually made money, on those names, on those faces, on those games, jerseys, newspapers. I never really thought of it that way. Now, it's a different age, it's a different time. So there's a lot more to think about when it goes into it. But, I think there's a lot of smart people in a lot of rooms, and hopefully at the front end, it's about the players, it's about the student athletes, do what's best for them, and then we'll move forward and let's keep the game going in a positive direction.
Right here, Coach, on your left.
Jeff Rabjohn, Speaks.com. Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
As far as your front line goes, the options you have with the number of guys, 6'7" and taller, how do you approach that? And do you sort of have an idea of going, okay, these are going to be our main guys starting out, we're going to work other guys in? Is it going to be open competition for a while? How do you want to maximize what you have up front?
Well, it's a good question. I think the strength of our team and some of the experience level of our team and talent, it really starts on paper with the size and the ability to, hopefully play an inside game. We have a lot of different guys that I think can play together. That's exciting. And I do think we have a lot of different guys that are able to contribute, whether that be a freshman or whether that be a fifth-year senior, fourth-year senior, whatever it may be. We have a lot of guys that expect to play. Our staff expects them to play. So I think, one, competition. Earn everything is always the best way to do it. That's always how we've done it. And I think there's great competition level to get on the floor and to play minutes. I think the second thing is to play a lot of guys. For us to be able to maximize our talent, for us to be able to maximize our production, we have to get a lot of different type of contributions. And like I said, when you have a stable of guys, you have to have the ability to use them. You can't play just one or two and say this is how we're going to do it. You have to have versatility in your lineups. You have to have competition and give guys the rope to get out there and play. And I think, with what we got going on, right now, I like it. And I think that, there's a group that should take some pride in us having one of the best front lines in college basketball. And, that adds in, even the Demezy Andersons and the Jerome Hunters of the world who are 6'7" plus. Or, Jerome, quite frankly, is, every bit as big as Justin Smith. So we have a big, strong, long group that, in my opinion, has some versatility. And we've got to get the most out of it by having them challenge each other every day. But without question, I think that's definitely something we have to find and make that a strength.
On your left here, Coach.
Coach Tom Bruce, SportsIllustrated.com. Trace Jackson-Davis has been mentioned on a few preseason freshman player of the year type lists. Can you talk a little bit about incorporating freshmen into your team and what you may have learned about that in the past few years here at Indiana?
Well, whether you're at Indiana or you're anywhere, young people take different paths to the floor. We've always played freshmen. Our staff has. We've played freshmen here in our first 2 years, whether that be Al Durham or Justin Smith as true freshmen played. Last year's crew had a number of guys step in with, Robert obviously coming back as a sophomore, playing a lot of minutes. This year's team will be no different. Our two freshmen, true freshmen, Trace and his counterpart there, Armand Franklin, both have been fantastic since they've stepped foot on campus in terms of their ability to do what we've asked them to do, fit in, and be productive. And I think through our first couple workouts here, looking at things, I think both guys have a chance to really impact our team. Obviously, Trace coming in, being a McDonald's All-American, there's a lot around him in terms of accolades and height, but right now he's been very, very humble in the way that he's worked and the way that he's fit in. Very, very proud of him and Armand and both the way that they've approached things. They've been as good as any player on our team in terms of our fall camp and what we're doing. Now there's a lot of learning. There's going to be a lot of strength and weaknesses about the grind of college basketball, playing in games for the first time, playing against older players, scouting, all that stuff goes in. But both those guys not only have to contribute, but they can impact our team. And I think that's an exciting thing for us is to keep recruiting young players that, obviously we're bringing in to play right away.
Straight back here.
Andy Seligman, AP. Getting back to the California law, is it fair to say that you think it's an issue that needs to be settled on a national level and not on a state-by-state case?
That could be a little bit bigger than me. I'm not as well versed, to be honest with you, in exactly what the pros and cons, the ramifications of each state to state, each university to university. But I would say this, when you're dealing with collegiate sports or specifically us, the men's basketball, what you'd like is for everyone to have an equal say and obviously have their opportunity. But it definitely probably, however it's going to work out for the good of the game, needs to be governed, needs to be looked at as a wholesale thing, not as an individual thing. But again, I'm probably not as well versed to be that educated right now on the grand specifics of how each state handles it and what the NCAA is able to do. We've got a while to figure it out, and I know the fact that it's on the forefront right now means there's going to be some really, really important people to the college game in terms of administrators, presidents, commissioners. They're going to have their say. They're going to, do the best they can to help, everyone.
Far back.
Coach Kyle Babcock, Sports Report Media. You brought up Demezi. We covered Demezi in high school. He didn't get a lot of playing time as a freshman. He was a superstar in high school. What's it like for him now to know that it's his time to get on the court and really shine?
Well, Demezi's like a lot of young guys. They come from certain situations and they walk into, uncharted territory, and you got to learn the ropes. I think the great thing about Demezi is he's a fantastic kid. He wants to learn. He's very coachable. And just in his communication in this off season and what we try to do with him, he'll be the first to tell you that he had a lot to learn. And there's some things that he needs to do better. But I tell you what, he went to work on them. And right now he's as big and strong and as well-conditioned as he's been. He's a 6'6", 220-plus pound guy. He can shoot the ball for us. He's going to have to bring that to the table for our team. But for him, more importantly, and watching him as a sophomore, it's just a much different feeling for him. It's not the first time he's went through it. He has now the advantage of going through a year under his belt, and he knows what we expect of him. He kind of knows right now what he's going to need to do to help our team, and I think everyone from players to coaches feel that he's going to do that, and we're excited for him. But he has an opportunity, right now to really grab a hold of a role, and he's got to do some things better than he did in year one, but I think he's much more equipped mentally to do that more than anything, which is what you want from your young players, to grow and to keep getting better. But Demezi's done a great job as we've finished last year and as we've entered into this October of having a good way about him. And, just in watching him practice even yesterday, he's a much different player. He's a much different guy out there than he was as a young player, as a true freshman.